Hello and welcome to Angry Andy Reviews, and this is my review for Spaceman.
Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
Angry Andy. Angry Andy.
Angry Andy Reviews.
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 Don't make me destroy you.
So, Spaceman is an Adam Sandler movie where he is lost in space with a giant spider for company along the way. It's not a comedy, which may be surprising to some. And to be fair, it's a delight for me that it's not. Which may surprise a lot of people, but certainly won't surprise a few. I am not a fan of Adam Sandler. I'm not a fan of his comedy films. I haven't seen them all, but the ones that I have seen just infuriate me.
I smell coconuts. Oh. Hello. That dude looks like a lady.
I haven't seen Punch Drunk Love or Uncut Gems, to be fair.
Stupid boy.
So I can't really comment on his particular style of the more serious roles. But to be quite honest with you, and I will be as honest as I can be, whenever I see a trailer for one of his movies, whenever I see anything about his comedy films, I can't help but think,
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
and that's a me problem. I freely engage with that. I freely appreciate that, and I'll be open and honest about that. So when it came to the trailer for this movie, I was quite surprised how interested I became of it. It's a film where he is isolated as a sole astronaut. God knows why. What kind of space program would send somebody on a singular lone mission to the other side of Jupiter on their own to investigate a mysterious cloud that's appeared out of nowhere? Who the fuck knows? It just doesn't make any sense for me. What if something goes wrong? He's fucked, isn't he? Quite honest with you. But maybe that's part of the film. Something tells me they don't really fully, invest in that idea. But this is a film about, like I said, a lone space traveller, an astronaut who's on a massive round trip to Jupiter to investigate a cloud called the Chopra Cloud, whose particles it is hoped that they can extract for, again, whatever reason. We don't really fully explain that. And the film sort of deals with this isolated sort of nature of both him and his estranged partner back home, and looking at their relationship and how it's falling apart. Along the way, he somehow comes across a giant spider that was within his ship, and he has a sort of nightmare where the spider comes out of him, and there it is, the spider's right there, a telepathic alien spider voiced by Paul Dano, which is brilliant. I will give you that. Film, Paul Dano and his delivery in this film is perfect. He's got that weird sort of whispery quality to it, that ethereal presence. It's really great. I love Paul Dano. I think he's an incredible actor. I've loved him since he was in There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis, and obviously he was in The Batman a couple of years ago. But the film sort of doesn't really move on from the premise, if you like. By the time we get to the third act, it's doing all this sort of like abstract, weird sort of imagery and dreamlike stuff. We don't really get a full-blown, emotional, resonant response from anything that we've had in this film. Adam Sandler just kind of plays it very monotonous. It's strange. I don't really know how to describe it. Everything is weighted on his shoulders, and you can almost feel that weight here on him. It's one hell of a heavy burden that he's carrying in this film, and for all the floating madness that we have in this film, and the slow motion sort of ponderous, nearly pretentious bollocks that we've got going throughout this film, it's a shame almost that there isn't some form of levity And that's really bizarre for me to sort of say. For me, it's not convincing at all. It's not convincing at all, the fact that he's forced to make sort of priorities and questions about what's going on and what he's supposed to do. It's the fundamental problem for me, and I'm struggling to really get this out there, is that there is no emotional weight, for anything that he's doing. I didn't feel like there was any sort of real connection, tangible connection to what he's going through, what we're being told is going on, and the conflict back home with his missus. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't really feel like it's there, and with that, I feel like the entirety of the film sort of suffers a bit of an identity crisis. We're never really sure whether we're supposed to be watching a relationship drama where everything's falling apart. We're not sure whether we're supposed to be watching something, like a human endurance film, where the person on a singular mission, is trying to survive, yet do, quality work and get the results for everyone back home. At the same time, we're not really sure whether we're supposed to be watching something that's a bit more outlandish and crazy, like 2001: A Space Odyssey or something like that. We're not really sure. And the parallels between that film and this film, are out there. It's quite clear that Paul Dano's spider character, Hannes, I think it was called, I can't remember the pronunciation for it, but there are strong parallels between him and Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and yet we're not really given any depth of meat for that. There's nothing to suggest much more beyond the surface with the character. Yes, he's a telepathic spider, but is he imaginary? Is he real? Where is the playfulness with that? We don't know. We don't get it. And it's a bit of a shame. And with that, we're played with, a lot of things to do with his past, with Adam Sandler's character's past, Jakob, and, this whole issue with his partner, and yet it's all too fleeting. It doesn't really add anything to it. It's a bit of a shame. It seems to just flitter away and expect you to pick up the pieces, which is something I simply can't do with a film like this. It's a shame, really. I think there is potential for something greater there, and for me, I wonder if this film was just the wrong performance for Adam Sandler. To be fair, I wonder if this film was just wrong for him entirely. I wonder what a different actor would have had in it. I wonder what Paul Dano would have had in it. Being Jakob in this film. It's an interesting thing to ponder, really. What about Paul Dano being Jakob and Adam Sandler being the giant telepathic spider? Who knows? But everything feels unearned come the end of the film. Its abstract nature just doesn't quite sit well with what we've been shown and what we've been told. The film looks superb, other than that, but I think it's just a bit too daft. I think it's a bit too pointless, really. This film is a bit pointless for me. Didn't do anything, didn't elicit anything from me at all. And when you're dealing with something like this, where he's dealing with somebody in solitude, trying to find, some meaning behind everything, and yet you come up with very little. No, absolutely not. A very melancholic film that doesn't justify the melancholy. So yeah, I am going to be giving this film a 5 out of 10. Literally, that's probably one of the highest ratings I've ever given an Adam Sandler movie, to be fair. So there we go. My own prejudices aside, what do you think? Obviously this film is doing very well. From what I've seen, critics are tearing it apart. But the film is doing very well. It's top of the chart on Netflix, I believe. Not that means very much. It just means a lot of people are watching it, that's all. But what do you think? Have you seen this film? What are your thoughts on this and the skinny human involved in this film? Let me know your thoughts. Sound off in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this review, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews like this. For more surprise reviews like this. I wonder how many more serious films Adam Sandler will do. And it sounds bizarre to keep saying that. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.